Alrighty, fabled episode 30, hot off the heels of a exciting week 13 where, we can start right off with Jalen Hurts finally got his chance to play.
Well, did you hear the news that Doug's going to start him next week?
He is, yeah, against the Saints, the one of the best defenses in the NFL right now.
Yeah, that I don't understand. The throwing the guy out there against one of the best teams in football, that's a tough call.
You remember how in the beginning of the season we were talking about how the Saints problems right in the beginning where Breeze was playing a little inconsistent and then their defense was not playing up to par.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've completely turned that around, and Quan Alexander is making a difference. And they're statistically, they're in, I think, the top 5 of almost every stat for defense. So
yeah, the defense has been playing really well. The Saints are really coming together right now, and I think
they're hot.
Yeah, they're not. It's even more impressive they're doing without Breeze. So you figure he's just going to slide right back in doing what he's going to do. Taysom Hill will go back to his do-it-all role instead of just being the starting quarterback, and they will be just as dangerous as ever.
They said Breeze was clear to play, but if I was the Saints, I would keep Taysom Hill in there and then bring.
Do they really need Drew Brees to beat the Eagles? I don't think so.
Plus, I wouldn't if as up and down as the Eagles are as a team, the defense will gets after the quarterback. Do you really want Breeze getting hit, by Fletcher Cox and another injury?
It's a game they can win easily without Breeze. I don't see the point in bringing them out. So, all right, well then I wanted to get your thoughts on the big move, which obviously everyone's talking about, is the Hurts over Wentz. First, I'd like to say personally, I didn't mind pulling him in during the game. He looked terrible, as he has been. I said that I'd rather them take him out in a game than just to let Hurts start from week 1. This way, give your chance to give yourself a spark. I think it's a little easier maybe to come in and catch the defense off guard or something. Look good. It looked solid when he went out there. Saw some excitement. That was a nice touchdown pass he had.
It was.
So that was exciting to build off of. I still think this team has got so many problems. It's not just quarterback. So I have a limited ceiling on what Hurts or what I'm expecting from Hurts this year. But listen, this is your fault. Not your fault directly, but this is the Eagles' fault. This is what happens when you draft a guy second round after you've signed your franchise quarterback to a huge contract. You had to eventually see what he has. You're about to be drafting in the top 5. You might need another quarterback. You had to do this. And you know what? The season's already lost. I don't care about the division. We're pretty much eliminated from everything. So why not? Why not throw him out there? Get a couple games in. If he struggles, you can go back to Wentz. But really, you just need to see what this guy can do because you're going to have a tough offseason this year.
I was talking to Nick this afternoon, and we were talking about how I said to him back in April when the Eagles drafted Hurts in the second round, everyone was pulling their hair out. Why would you do this? This is a dumb pick. So many other needs on the team. And then we let ourselves get talked into, you know what? Maybe this isn't a bad idea. It's a little insurance in case Wentz gets hurt. Maybe he's got some wildcat or gadget plays that could be really cool. And then I got comfortable with it. Now at this point, I look at it as that is the worst, one of the worst picks I've seen this team make in a while.
Oh yeah.
Because you look at it now, you have a problem because Wentz is your quarterback, whether you like it or not. You can't really. He's going to be expensive to trade because you're still going to get a cap hit. Even if you trade him, no team is really going to want to take on that contract when he's in a questionable mindset right now. And it's why put him in more stress than he's already been under? He finally beats out Nick Foles and gets that out of the way. He's this is his team. There's no more Nick Foles, no more backup looking over his shoulder. And he'll keep saying that it doesn't bother him, but that's a lie. Everyone knows that it does.
Yeah.
It would bother me. And you look at what Aaron Rodgers was able to do when they drafted Jordan Love, number 1. He's all right, I'm just going to play my mind out and make you regret the decision. Here's the difference. Aaron Rodgers is 10 years older than Wentz. They needed to get a future eventually. Wentz is our future right now. So why would you draft a player that is probably capable of starting on some teams?
Oh, yeah.
Find out Sunday. And, just weaken his confidence yet again. I'm starting to feel bad for Wentz because I understand this concept of he has to keep proving himself. Now, granted, the amount of money he makes and the amount of talent he has, he should be able to deal with this easily. Mm-hmm. But it gets to him, and not being able to just know that the team is his, I guess, is just
Yeah, see,
impacted his play, impacted his mentality, and now what this is about. This isn't about seeing what you have in Hurts. It's about benching Wentz and letting him sit back and look at the team from a different angle. Look at how Jalen runs the offense. Look at things that, because I guarantee you, he goes and looks at film after every game and he looks at it the same way. Hopefully this will open his eyes and say, wow, I didn't notice that this time, or oh, maybe I could try that instead, or wow, I can see that this guy's wide open. How do I miss those throws? You know,
yeah, no, I agree with a lot
that's
of
my
what you
rant.
said. No, I agree with a lot of what you said there. And the only thing I would disagree, I would say, is I think there'll be a lot of teams that would trade for Wentz. I think teams still look at Wentz as still an elite athlete with a hell of an arm who's done it before. They just look at this team and they're like, well, you have a GM that's incapable of picking good players or signing quality free agents, so the team sucks. And then you have a coach that has absolutely no idea what he's doing, just comes up with the same nonsensical game plan every time and thinks it's going to work. Just ignores running the ball, lets his quarterback get killed. He never changes. Doug has not changed anything. We're running the
Yeah.
same offense I would expect us to run if we had a fully healthy offensive line and weapons on the perimeter. We don't run the ball. We don't do anything creative. We have done absolutely nothing with Jalen Hurts as this wildcat quarterback second option. I'm for the Wentz benching. One is this guy's like he's clearly deserved it. He's been
Mm-hmm.
so bad this year.
Should have
And
been
this
benched a
is
month ago, but
well, yeah, no, I agree with you. But this is rock bottom. When you take him out of the game and you bench him for Hurts and go into next season with Hurts, or not next week with Hurts starting, this is rock bottom for Wentz. This is where Wentz needs to look and reevaluate himself and see where he can fix things. One thing I was listening to earlier, and you mentioned Aaron Rodgers, which I thought was interesting because I was listening to an interview Aaron Rodgers did with the Pat McAfee on the show, and he was talking about, he's like, I went up to Carson. I really wanted to talk to him. I've been meaning to talk to him for ages. Didn't really go into what he was talking about with Carson, but it just made you think, like, he probably understands, like, the situation with Carson because he had a tough go of it. He had that huge draft day slide when he was getting drafted,
mm-hmm.
and he was behind a Hall of Fame quarterback for a couple of years. Then when he was finally going to get his opportunity, his Hall of Fame legend quarterback decided he wanted to come out of retirement 3 or 4 times and get demand a job back. And Aaron Rodgers probably looking at Carson Wentz and like, damn, bro, my start to my career is pretty tough, but you've gone through something I could never dreamed of. Between your backup quarterback winning a Super Bowl, your constant injuries, and now your team signing you a massive contract. You think you're finally there. You're the franchise guy they're going to build around, and they go and draft a quarterback in the second round? Are you kidding me? Like, and you mentioned with Aaron Rodgers, he's older. Like, this is the thing. Like, Carson, like, you're young. You are the franchise. They gave you all the money. You should be looking in the window and think, I'm set where I am at. I can be comfortable. And then they go do this. And now they have to play Jalen Hurts because your team sucks. And they need to go see what you have in Jalen Hurts, who you just wasted the second round pick on.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of this go around, and I'm glad some people are noticing. But it's the quote that I keep hearing is, Carson Wentz didn't fail the Eagles failed Carson Wentz.
It is the worst handling of quarterback I've ever seen. And actually, maybe with David Carr when he was drafted by the Texans and the fact that they just refused to do anything but let him get killed every single game.
Yeah. I'm stuck in this spot where I still really like Doug as a coach, but he's slowly starting to like chip away at my patience, because granted, I don't want him to get fired because I don't know how many better options there are out there. It's hard to find continuity for head coaching jobs. Look at how many times there's a vacancy every year in the NFL.
No, that's true. I agree with you there.
But I was talking to Nick and I was saying, you know what? If Jeff Lurie, the owner, decides, you know what, we're cleaning house, and Lurie and Howie goes and Doug goes, I'll let that. I'll be fine with that, because I don't want Howie to stay and Doug to go. If Doug stays and Howie goes, that's the ideal for me. But if in order for Howie to go, Doug has to go, then I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, we were last week. I already made my mind up that I'm done with Howie. He can't. He could sign Jerry Rice off the practice squad somewhere. I don't care. He's done. I'm done with this team. This team is terrible.
Even if he's just relegated to like handling just contracts, that's fine. I don't want him to touch the draft anymore.
We're not. You can't take the guy, move him down from GM, then give him power again, let him win a Super Bowl, and then bring him back down. This guy,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Motion. He can get a GM job wherever he wants, and there's like 4 of them open right now. Who was that? I think it was Adam Schefter said if Doug got fired, he'd have plenty of openings right away. And if I believe both of them would. I don't think it would be tough.
And they said Howie would have a job within seconds. So
yeah, no, I believe both of that, and I think the same with Wentz. I think if we were actually going to trade him, there would be many teams willing to trade for him.
It's just the contract is tough, I think.
But you know what? Franchise quarterbacks cost that. Kirk Cousins cost that. Jimmy G cost that. Matthew Stafford cost that. Like, these guys aren't really lighting the world on fire and haven't been lighting them on fire. This is what a franchise quarterback cost you.
Well, then
you have to get a young one or you get a shitty one, but this is what it cost you.
All right, I'll give you some scenarios then. So, because this is what I've been thinking about today. So let's say Jalen Hurts plays, in all likeliness, he'll play okay against the Saints. I don't think he's going to light anybody on fire.
Really?
But I don't think he's going to be like piss poor like Wentz has been playing.
See, this is the thing though. I know Wentz has been terrible, don't get me wrong, but this team sucks. And I think Jalen Hurts is going to struggle a lot because this team sucks.
So, well, okay, before I get into my scenarios, but we'll find out a lot, because if Hurts isn't able to do anything, people will start looking at it and saying, wow, so maybe Wentz wasn't the only problem. You know,
unless you're blind, you got to realize that there's
I know, but that's what the media likes to paint.
I know.
But so scenario-wise, so let's say Hurts starts the rest of what do we got, 4 games left? Hurts plays all 4, starts all 4, Carson sits. And then, by the end of that, he looks like, a bona fide starter. Like he could lead this team for years to come. The other scenario is he's fine. He gets the game. Like, maybe with Eagles win a game or 2 here. Plays fine. Nothing super spectacular, super special. But he's like, he looks like he could maybe be like a top 30 quarterback. But, you don't really want to build around him because it's kind of uncertain. Mm-hmm. In either of those scenarios, do you 100% want to get rid of Wentz in favor of Hurts?
No. Well, first off, the contract thing is just going to kill you. You're going to take a lot of dead cap.
Take the contract out of it.
Fine. No. I am still of the belief I don't want to trade Wentz.
As am I.
All I see is we trade him. He's going to be amazing on someone else's team.
Yep.
Now, I already said I'm dead right with Howie. I want him gone. Doug, you can convince me you can keep him, but you got to take away play calling from it, and you got to bring in an offensive coordinator that is proven, track record offensive coordinator to bring new life to Carson and figure out what's wrong, because the Eagles have broken. Doug Peterson has broke Carson Wentz. Like, he's never been this bad, and he sucks now. Like, he's just getting worse, and I don't understand how.
Yeah.
He needs someone to really get into his ears. He needs a new voice because Doug is clearly not getting there. The whole offense coordinator thing needs to be sorted. Fire them all and bring in a new offense coordinator. I've been saying that. And I just can't picture a world where, unless Jalen Hurts somehow lights the world on fire these 4 games, which I think is going to be tough with how bad this team is, I can't possibly feel comfortable about going into next season with Jalen Hurts as my franchise quarterback. What now, in your situation that you mentioned in scenario number 2 where he plays solid and he looks like a top 30 quarterback. Now, in that situation, that's probably why you drafted him in the 2nd round, was because, like they said, they're a quarterback factory. So they're able of having multiple quarterbacks that are solid players. And you want the ultimate insurance, of Jalen Hurts. So ideally, I think Jalen Hurts showing you that he's capable and he can play a little bit is why you drafted him in the 2nd round. Is so he can be the backup to Carson to come in if needed, or, maybe if we ever get creative, using them in these creative sets. But I still don't think when they drafted him in the 2nd round, they were planning on replacing him with Wentz. It'd be really stupid if after they signed a contract to be thinking that way. So even if Hurts looks solid, I can't imagine you trade Wentz. Like, you had to think Hurts is going to be a pretty decent player to be drafted that high anyway. So why don't you just keep him in the backup role you were originally planning on anyway?
Yeah, if this is what I like, if I had full power to make these decisions, I get rid of Howie, keep Doug this is his ultimatum year. Got to get deep in the playoffs this next year, depending on who he's got lined up on the team.
Yeah,
and this is a make or break year for Carson too, the next year. Because if you go into the offseason and he doesn't take a leap, like a huge leap to figure out his issues and comes back next season and he's still underthrowing players or overthrowing them, like that Goddard throw that I've seen a million times on Twitter now, where he just threw a duck and it would have been a
Okay.
touchdown to Goddard because he was wide open.
Keep seeing ducks from him more and more. I don't
I
get
don't
it.
know if he has some kind of hidden injury and like the whole like Hurts thing plus the poor play. He doesn't want to come out and say, "Oh, I'm hurt," and then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, he's an injury-prone quarterback." Blah 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 blah. I don't know if that's a thing or if it's a mental block, but he has to get it sorted out because he can't come in next year and play like this again. Because
Yeah.
he won't be starting for this team, and he might not be starting for another team. So consistency is key in the league. So if you consistently show you're a bad player, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, last thoughts on this, that, if Hurts looks good, that's a plus. I guess that makes the pick look a little bit better because at least he's a decent player. Maybe it's something exciting to build around, but I don't see any situation where I'm ready to give up on Wentz and go the future with Hurts. That would be a complete failure. What I would like to see this team is invest in having Wentz succeed. Get him a coach that's going to sit down and teach him how to be a good quarterback again. You're going to have a top 5 pick at this rate. So go draft Jamar Chase, who's one of the best college wide receivers I've seen in, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And just build around him. Like, just stop doing things that other teams wouldn't do with a franchise quarterback. It's like so hard to find a franchise quarterback. Everyone else supports their franchise quarterback at every moment. And like you want to make his life more difficult every season.
Yeah, and even worse, the hold on, I don't want to. I want to make sure I find the stat because it irks me to watch this team and have Miles Sanders averaging 6 yards a carry, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You get like another game where he has like 10 touches. Like I don't understand. I get that you're a pass first offense, but there comes a time where you need to utilize your strengths, and they're not doing it. And even Jordan Howard came back and he had a couple good runs.
Oh yeah, it was nice to see him out there. I kind of thought when he was out there against the Packers, I was feeling some good juju. I was like, maybe this is a game we can win. Maybe we just ride Jordan Howard and the rushing game all game like we did last year.
Oh, here's the tweet that Nick shared. Said the Eagles are on pace to become the 4th team since 1950 to average 5 yards per carry, but run the ball less than 24 times per game. Like, that's absurd.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know. And then the passing part of that.
Oh yeah, they're 8th in the NFL in pass attempts, 31st in yards per pass, 28th in NFL rush attempts, 3rd in yards per run. Like, blows my mind.
I don't know. This is what I mean. Like, we don't like have a scheme that plays to your strengths. Like I said, it's like Doug he goes one set. He's like, this is what I had planned out for the whole season. We had a ton of injuries and realized certain players couldn't play up to par, and you just kept going with it.
Yeah, but that's my T on the Eagles. I don't have much.
One more, just a little giggle. Did you by chance see the story that Derek Gunn tweeted about Jamon Brown?
I did, but I now forget what it was about.
Oh, you mean Jamon Brown, who we signed and looked worse than any.
Well, he was on the practice squad and he got cut. So I forget what did he do again?
Well, because the clown was first we signed him, he was playing, he looked awful. They released him, brought him to the practice squad, and then I don't know what I didn't hear exactly what it was, but something happened at the team hotel that the head of security for the Philadelphia Eagles kicked Jamon Brown out of the hotel. Like, what are you doing that your own team security guy is kicking you out of the hotel? Like, isn't this guy supposed to keep you safe, and you pissed him off so much that he's kicking you out of the hotel? And then he got released 12 hours after that. So I don't know what he did, but just another comedy signing we're just having. Like, I just love these veteran free agents we bring in, the Orlando Scandricks, the Zach Browns, the Jamon Browns. And don't get me wrong, I didn't have great hopes for any of those 3 players. But these guys not only suck, but they then, Jamon Brown gets kicked out by your security official. Orlando Scandrick went and ripped your team apart, and he did it again last week. Like, you just can't even pick, decent team guys. Like, you're just bringing dynamite into your locker room. And like you're doing it with these veteran established players. Like, what are we doing? You can't even pick players that play any good. Can't you pick someone that's not going to blow up the locker room?
Yeah, it said he was sent. He was kicked out of the hotel and sent home for conduct detrimental to the team.
Yeah, like listen, we can go sign plenty of guards that are just as good as Jamon Brown because the bar is not very high. Can we just get a guy that doesn't fuck up the whole team dynamic?
I remember somebody. I remember seeing that tweet yesterday, and somebody responded to it. Who was Jamon Brown? And somebody commented back, and they said, "Oh, he's the guy that sacked Carson Wentz 4 times against the Ravens."
Yeah,
Because he was so bad.
So bad. He was so bad.
How many times was he turned around watching Wentz just get eaten alive?
Honestly, gun to your head, who's starting at offensive guard for you? Opeka, Jason Peters, or Jamon Brown?
Me.
You know what's sad is all three of them
Me
are which is just disgusting. Oh God.
Well, I don't know. I am curious to see, and I was saying this earlier, like to somebody else, like I liked Jalen Hurts in college. Like I was rooting for him. I wanted to go to a team where he would play. I didn't want him to come to Philly where they already have a franchise quarterback. So,
yeah.
But I will see how he does. I think he'll be okay. I don't think he's, like I said, I don't think he's going to light up the Saints. Could be wrong. You never know. But
yeah, we'll see. My real question, you talked about 2 scenarios. What happens when Jalen Hurts struggles mightily because this team sucks? And then what do? Do you put Wentz back in just for shits and giggles? At this point, I just let Hurts play the rest of the year, even if he's terrible.
I would be surprised if Hurts plays, if he starts all 4 games. I think I think this game is a test for him and Wentz. And
against the best team in the NFC.
I think Peterson will.
Peterson.
Yeah, well, I think Peterson will take that into account and then go, all right, let me look at practice, let me look at tape, see how Hurts did, whatever. But I can see Hurts starting like 2 and then maybe Wentz finishing out the season, but we'll see.
Your season's over. Like, this team sucks. You're not even how bad the division is.
I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm saying that's what they'll probably do.
You got to at least give Hurts a couple games. Like, what do you have to lose?
If it's the QB factor, at least advertise the merch.
It's true. Yeah, we just pump out quarterbacks over here. So, God.
All right. Oh, what else did you notice around the league this weekend?
Was a couple of things. Obviously, I mean, the biggest eye openers for me were the Washington over Steelers. Obviously, was a big one. Steelers, man, their run game is a problem. Their run game is an issue that they need to figure out because that is issue.
Connor was out, right?
Yeah, but man, I always looked at the Steelers as a solid offensive line. I know Pouncey comes back this week and he's been out, but he's always missing time. I think their leading rusher was Anthony McFarland Jr., 4 rushes for 15 yards. Like, you're a really good team. That is something you need to work on, especially, Devin Bush got hurt early in the season. Now Bud Dupree went down. Your defense, it's losing a little spunk, from all these injuries. So you need to figure it out on offensive end. Bills continue to cruise. I thought Josh Allen looked great. I'll get to him later.
Josh Allen was pretty phenomenal, honestly.
Really good.
I think he missed like maybe 8 passes and he threw like 40 times or something.
Yeah,
crazy.
That was very impressive. Very impressed with him. Speaking of another 2018 first-round pick, talk about impressive. Man, I just want to go back and say one thing. Remember when Odell got hurt and I said this might help the Browns offense in a weird way? Like, take the pressure off of Baker. Don't have to worry about this me guy, which is what Odell is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week, they just looked embarrassing on offense and looked like they needed Odell. Mm-hmm. I am coming back to that. I looked pretty smart because you know what? This offense looks a hell of a lot better than it's ever did with Odell. And here's the other thing. They're running the ball, and that's what they do. First down, second down, and third down. And I guarantee you a player that is as toxic as Odell Beckham would not be down with that. He would not be a fan of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb getting 20 carries a game. I don't care what anyone would say. Oh, if they keep winning, Odell will be fat. No, Odell's a loser, first off. I don't think he's ever been on a winning team. He's been on the crappy Giants years, and then the Browns went 6-10. This guy would have never been okay with that. I think it's a burden off Baker's chest that he doesn't have to worry about him. He doesn't have to worry about a diva. And I think that you're seeing it now. My prediction that I made then, which was wrong at the time, but now it's starting to come on a little bit better.
I think Baker is a young Kirk Cousins. He'll give you games where he plays really well, and then he'll give you games where he plays subpar. And I think that'll be his career. I don't think he's ever going to be – he'll make a Pro Bowl here and there, but I don't think Baker's going to be like, a borderline Hall of Fame or anything like that. I think he's just going to be a decent starting quarterback with a team that
Listen,
can run. They don't need him to be special.
exactly. Do you think?
So
Do you
if
think Kyle Shanahan needs Jimmy Garoppolo to be special? No, they know what they have their
right,
system. They can put on whatever quarterback they want, and they'll keep winning. I thought this when I was watching the Niners game. Um, they lost by 10. It wasn't super competitive, but Nick Mullins, he didn't look awful, and Jimmy G didn't look
that
great
end of
at
that
points.
game, he looked pretty bad though. He was throwing
Yeah,
ducks.
I know, but compared to like what you've seen from Jimmy G, if you could tell me this, listen, if I'm the Niners, if you can get Nick Mullen production at the price of Nick Mullen, as opposed to paying an exuberant amount for Jimmy Garoppolo production, Jimmy Garoppolo, they went to the Super Bowl last year. He was not this offensive superstar that I thought carried them there.
No,
And I think
but
Baker's in a similar situation as that. He fits the scheme because he doesn't have to be all that amazing. And his headache of a wide receiver isn't there to cause headaches. So they can just run the ball 40 times a game.
yeah, I'm rooting the Browns and the Bills. I'm really rooting for them to do well and have a nice playoffs.
Be good change of pace. Another surprise team, obviously, to talk about them. Giants. People gave the Joe Judge hiring a lot of crap because he was like a special teams assistant or what the hell he was.
Yeah,
But I'll give you this, man. You're talking about an awful roster. He's got an awful roster competing. Colt McCoy was his starting quarterback. Colt McCoy hasn't won a game since 2014, and he went out there and won a game for them. Through two nice touchdowns, he played well. They scored 17 points. He didn't light the world on fire, but he did enough to win. That defense is playing pretty solid. This defense just held the Seahawks to 12 points.
yeah.
This defense with who? Who's on this team that is any good?
I will say, I saw a stat yesterday. So Russ, he was our midseason MVP, but I think he's kind of fallen out of that. And if you look at his numbers, like he's almost playing like Wentz, but without the like eye gouging mistakes. Like he's getting sacked a lot. They
Mm-hmm.
said he's in the
Holding the
past
ball.
on the past 4 games he's held on to the ball like almost the most in the league.
Yeah. No,
And
I
I think his QBR is like 20-30 in the NFL in the past 5 games. Like he's having a rough stretch. I mean, granted, they can't run the ball for shit,
yeah.
but
No, I agree. They've really struggled a lot, especially against I didn't see this coming. This 12-point stinker.
I mean, I was saying the past few weeks, like Giants, and then I said Washington's defense is underrated, and their D line is nice.
Yeah.
And
So this is real, I wanted because you were mentioning this. I wanted to mention this to you. So this was a quote from Pete Carroll that I was reading. It was like, I'm really surprised that this is how we looked against this game plan they had. And he continued to say, I thought we could do a lot of stuff that just didn't happen for us. The way I read that is Pete Carroll saw a team that wasn't very good, that didn't come out with this explosive game plan that they couldn't stop. They had plenty of opportunities to beat them, and they just shot themselves in the foot. The 5 sacks that Russell Wilson took probably goes into that. But I think that's your head coach calling out your quarterback. Like, listen, there was plays there. They were open. They did pretty much what we expected them to do. We are a much better team than them, and we just blew it. We had our opportunities and didn't do it.
yeah,
But I did think that was interesting because they're really struggling. Another NFC West team that is struggling as well. And I mentioned this last week when I said that they were a year off because these mistakes they're making. I think they showed it again this week. If Kyler Murray's not running for like 80 yards a game, they really struggle. And the Cardinals they're exposed. Like Kyler's not there as a passer yet. He can run well. He's a great athlete and great player. I also think the height thing is catching up to him too.
yeah. They call it fire in the beginning of the year, and now they've kind of been put out.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. Let me check. I don't know if they're. I don't think they're in the wild card even right now.
No, I doubt it because the Rams would be ahead of them.
Well, there's going to be 3 wild card teams now.
Oh yeah, you're right. Good call.
Playoffs. Playoff picture. So right now in the AFC, Steelers the 1 seed, and then then the Chiefs the 2. Then you got Bills, Titans, Browns, Dolphins make playoffs.
Yeah.
And Colts. And then the bubble is the Raiders at 7-5, Ravens at 7-5, and the Patriots now 6-6. NFC, I gotta switch it. Saints at 1, 10-2, obviously. Then the Packers at 2. So the Rams jumped the Seahawks, and they are in first in the NFC West. Giants at 5-7, first in the NFC East.
Yeah,
Seattle would be the 5. Tampa would be the 6, and the Vikings would make the wild card 6-6. Cardinals are also 6-6, and then it's like Bears, Lions, Niners at 5-7. So
yeah,
pretty
Vikings
much between Vikings. It'll be Vikings and Cardinals for that last spot. I would say
they came close. It's funny. The two worst teams in the NFL actually were very competitive. They lost. Well, one lost in overtime, and then we'll get to the Jets, but I don't know how you blow that Hail Mary pass. Like, that's just comical. It's just hilarious because you have like two awful teams, but like they're different levels of awful. The Jaguars can, they held a lead against the Vikings, who, as you mentioned, are looking like a playoff team, and they fought and they kept it close, and they eventually lost in overtime, but they fought and kept it close. The Jets, on the other hand, just keep tripping over themselves, and no matter what, even if they have it wrapped up and everything looks like they're going to win, they'll do something stupid so that they blow it. So just two different, both bad teams, but just two different varying levels of bad.
I mean, I was saying this to Nick. If I'm the Jags and I'm sitting at the number 2 spot and I take Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback, give them like a year or two, and they're going to be like a pretty solid team. Like, they got some young talent, especially on offense. Defense still has some talent. Get like a coach in there that can really work with Fields, and a good team. Like, because they've been in. I'm just double checking my. So week 11 they got blown out by the Steelers, but besides that, they've lost by like a field goal in every, like, lost by 3 to the Vikings in overtime, lost by 2 to the Browns, lost by 4 to the Packers, lost by 2 to the Texans, lost by 10 to the Chargers. But like, they compete, they fight.
They do compete. Yeah,
I'll give them credit. They're a scrappy team. They play to the end, and like you said, they were actually winning at one point against the Vikings in the fourth quarter. So
they did it. Yeah, they always fight. They're a tough fight. I think it covers most of the games. Bengals and Dolphins, not really exciting game at all. We had 2 players ejected, so that was kind of fun. Xavier Howard and Tyler Boyd got a toss for the softest punch I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it looked like Flores was going to get in there too.
Oh yeah, Flores could definitely beat some players up. I think the only other game that leaves is, Mitch Trubisky out there giving us another highlight strip sack. Talk about you running a 2-minute drill that you need to score on, and you just get strip sacked and give them the ball on the 5-yard line. That's a Mitch Trubisky 2-minute drill.
Talk about on the hot seat. Nagy's probably going to get axed too.
Oh yeah, there's no way he survives.
I feel bad for Bears fans. Like, I find it so comical that they moved up to draft a guy who had 10 collegiate starts at quarterback for North Carolina. Like,
hey, listen,
you were sold on 10 games? Okay.
A lot of bad decisions to be had. So, any last minute thoughts from you?
No, that really wraps up the weekend. Like I said, the playoffs are slowly starting to set in. I can't believe there's 4 games left already.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, I'm in all honesty, like, I love watching football, but I'm so ready for April because we have the draft, the offseason will have started, and COVID will hopefully be getting a little like dwindled down by then when it starts getting to summer again. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, next week we might just start talking about the draft prospects. To be honest with you, I even know really they could just skip the rest of the season for all I care.
All right, but what do we? Let's start with the duds and then end on the stud note. So, what we got for the 3 duds?
All right, we'll go duds. So actually, interesting fact today: the duds. I didn't purposely do this, but it kind of worked out this way. The duds are all coaches.
What?
All coaches this week.
Okay.
It's just how
keeping me surprised. All right.
I try my best. Just know I'm doing my homework every week.
I want to see some stats on the coaches too. So.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see what I can do on the stats. I'll try my best. Okay. I usually can pull something out of my butt. All right. So on to the first one, the third dud of the week. This is a guy I've been very heavily criticizing. I don't expect him to keep his job. I don't see how he could. And I think if they don't, it'd be a complete disservice to their franchise and to their young quarterback. Their young quarterback that this coach thought would be smart to have 53 pass attempts against Bill Belichick and the Patriots. In what world do you think a rookie quarterback throwing 53 times against a Bill Belichick-led defense is going to lead to any kind of success? Surprisingly, it didn't. It led to 2 interceptions and a blowout of 45-0. So my third stud this week is Anthony Lynn, who I've been incredibly tough on, and he deserved it. And now this is coming from the man's voice himself, so I don't really have to do much to justify it. Let Anthony Lynn do it. That was one of the worst football games I've ever been a part of in my 30 years in the National Football League as a player and a coach. That was unacceptable and embarrassing. And you know what, Anthony Lynn? I couldn't agree with you more, so that's why you're a stud there, bud. Just the disregard to not care about what Justin Herbert does. Like, dude, 53 attempts against Belichick. Like, we talked about how Belichick eats young quarterbacks alive. Why are you going to give him an all-day buffet? It's just idiotic. Throwing 2 special team touchdowns, it was a disgusting performance by the Chargers. They got absolutely handled. There's really nothing to be part of. As Anthony said, it was one of the worst games he's ever seen in his 30 years. And, that's where you can take to the bank.
Yeah, I was blown away that
the strategy was dumb, the playing was dumb, all of it.
I looked at the scoreboard and I was like, because it's like 45-0. I was like, what the hell happened?
Exactly. And just looked terrible on all phases. You let Cam Newton run 2 touchdowns in, 2 special team touchdowns. Justin Herbert throwing 53 times unsuccessfully. I think he was 26 for 53, throwing those 2 interceptions. Just a really, really terrible performance. And I wanted to put Herbert there, but honestly, I felt bad for the guy because what did you expect was going to happen when you throw up 53 times against Belichick? Belichick knows what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Stephon Gilmore's still there. The defense is always going to be on top. He eats rookie quarterbacks. That was just a recipe for failure. So Anthony Lynn, for just sending your rookie quarterback out there to die, that's why you're a dud.
Yeah, and hey, Cam's got it's Cam and Kyler are both in. They both have over, I think, 10 rushing touchdowns this year, or they're top 5 in rushing touchdowns. But Cam has like 12 or 15 or something. I don't remember. But.
Alrighty, so on to the second dud. Again, another coach, a coach who was also a former player like Anthony Lynn, a coach who was also a part of a defeat where the team that he was playing against put up over 40 points, just like Anthony Lynn. Now, there's something very interesting I learned about this coach today. Huh? Did you know on this team, they also go with the foolish strategy of not having a coordinator? Like the Eagles don't have an offensive coordinator because their head coach thinks he's so smart. This team doesn't have a defensive coordinator because their head coach thinks he's smart. Now, what would be interesting is I actually didn't realize that till I was looking the research in today, and that made a lot more sense to me because I also thought this team's defense has been awful the entire season. They've been getting by, and they're a pretty solid team who's in the playoffs, and they've been getting by a pretty outstanding offense throughout the year. Now, when your defense allows 4 touchdowns to be thrown at half by who you've already called a very mediocre quarterback, and then running the rush defense actually wasn't bad. Chubb and Hunt combined for 103 yards or 13 yards and a touchdown. Very low from what they normally see, but allowing Baker to go 25 of 33 with 334 yards and 4 touchdowns, 4 of them being in the first half.
Yeah.
This game ended 41-35. It was never that close. This game was never in doubt, just like the what was the game we were just talking about that I said was never in doubt either?
Chargers and Pats?
Well, no, that was never in doubt, and that never got close to being even accountable. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. But when you're down 38-7 at halftime, I don't care how many points you score in the second half to make it seem closer. This game was over. So Mike Vrabel, who surprisingly is also the defense coordinator and head coach, he doesn't have any defense coordinators. He calls his defense plays himself. Their defense has been a sore spot for that team all year. Their defense is probably going to be what holds them back if they can't figure it out. And that defense put up a horrific performance. You can't let Baker throw 4 touchdowns in a half. So that's why we're going to go with Mike Vrabel, my second of the week. I'm putting a lot of that loss on him.
Okay. I'm not surprised. Isn't that like Bill Belichick? Doesn't Bill Belichick have D coordinators, but he calls the defense anyways?
Mike Vrabel doesn't have a defense coordinator. If you look up the Titans defense coordinator, Dan P is retired this offseason, and they never replaced him.
So like reverse Eagles.
Exactly. And look how successful both those decisions have played out to be. Like I said, I didn't know that until I looked it up today. And then once I followed that tidbit, I was like, damn, the Titans defense kind of sucked this year too. That kind of makes sense. So I was like,
yeah, their pass defense has been really bad.
Yeah, we're not going to let that go.
Plus, Clowney's been hurt. He hasn't even really gotten to play.
Yeah, but still, you shouldn't be giving up 41 points to Baker.
Oh,
I mean, it wasn't really the run game that killed them. They kind of held the run game in check, but Baker just torched them. So,
who's the number one dud?
So the number one dud. And he's actually, this is the second time this year a number one dud has also lost his job. We touched on this a little bit, and I cannot tell you, like, I actually wasn't going to put him as the number one dud because I was thinking, you know what, the Jets probably were pretty happy they lost that game because, you know, they're looking at Trevor Lawrence. That's the only thing they care about. The only reason Adam Gase has his job right now is because they want to continue to lose games. Now, you know it's bad when Adam Gase still keeps his job after all the horrible decisions and just horrible coaching justness that he does. But when your defensive coordinator gets fired in a year that you're obviously tanking and no interest in winning, you know you really fucked up. Going for an all-out blitz on everyone knew was going to be a Hail Mary pass. All you had to do was just prevent a touchdown. You were going to win the game. To go for an all-out blitz is just showing what everyone already knows, that you have no interest in winning and didn't even try to cover it up. To leave your corner on an island with one of the fastest wide receivers in the league and just, you know, his double move gone. Like, what are we – like, the reason Greg
against Ruggs – or you left him one-on-one with Ruggs, one of the fastest receivers in the league.
It's one thing to call the all-out blitz on the Hail Mary to end the game, which is an idiot move in itself. But to leave your corner on an island with one of the fastest wide receivers, who we all know is getting the ball. Like, Derek Carr's chucking the ball downfield, and he's hoping that he gets it. It's just idiotic. So Greg Williams, for the fact that was one of the worst play calls I've ever seen in the NFL, and the fact that you lost your job before Adam Gase did, and you lost your job in the middle of the season for a team that clearly has no interest in winning, you are the number one dud, Greg Williams.
And on a side note, he's seen success as a D coordinator, but I've never liked him at all.
I'm stunned that he still gets jobs as a defense coordinator after the Bounty Gate thing. This is not his first defense coordinator job since then. He was somewhere else beforehand.
Oh, he's been bouncing around a lot. I think he was with the Titans. He was with the Browns. He was with
the Browns. That's
most recently was with the Browns. But I think he was on the Titans for a while. Then he's obviously was with the Saints.
What I like it's like he took the Bounty Gate, took the 1-year suspension, and life was fine after that. Like, I was really shocked that he just got a job immediately after, and he really hasn't suffered any since then. Like, yeah, but well, now it'll be very difficult for him to get a defense coordinator job.
Yeah, someone on ESPN, I think was, or I don't know if it was ESPN. I just heard somewhere that they were saying, well, maybe he wanted to be let go so he could leave the team. So he called the all-out blitz because he knew they would lose. Because it just, but like, the highest level that I've coached is high school or been a part of is high school, and even if I was a defensive coordinator, would not call an all-out blitz on a game-winning play when you know they have to score a touchdown. Yeah. Like you put. See, this is the scenario. If you get to Carr and force pressure on him enough to make a bad throw, there's still a chance somebody's going to catch that, and then if he catches it, who the hell do you have left to tackle?
Listen, there's no justifying it in any case. I wasn't going to.
It was terrible.
I wasn't going to put him as the number one dud because the only assumption I could make was that he purposely called that because he wants to keep losing because the owner's telling him we need Trevor Lawrence. And if anyone wins it, the owner's probably told Adam Gase, if you win a game, you're getting fired the next week. Keep losing and you can finish the season. And it's just the disrespect of Greg Williams to just call such a ridiculous play at the end of the game. We all know you're tanking, but just don't be disrespectful. Don't be hinky. Don't be out here trading anyone that has any value for second-round picks. You got to try, act like you kind of want to win. But, that's our duds for this week. All coaches.
We'll throw in a wild card in there.
That's what I try to keep it spicy for you. So,
all right.
Moving on to the good stuff.
The studs is where I like to take my guesses. So,
okay,
let's see where this goes.
Okay. So the third stud, he's been on this list I don't remember how many times, but he's definitely been on this list before. Continues to just be an absolute dominant pass catcher in the league. True elite wide receiver. Absolutely torched what should be a number one lockdown cornerback all game long. And you know what? That cornerback was very close to the dud list because I was very mad at him.
We didn't even talk about him, so I forgot.
I waited till this moment because I wanted to mention the numbers. Okay. So my third stud went for 10 receptions, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not a bad night. Just absolutely dominated. He had his way with it, and you're talking on a team that has no other options. Everyone knows that the Packers are Davante Adams, and that's it.
Yeah.
Davante Adams is the third stud this week for just a dominating performance on a so-called lockdown corner. Now, I wanted to transition to this because I'm starting to get worried about Slay. This is the second week in a row he's gotten. Oh, I am. You traded multiple draft picks and paid big money for this guy to be here. You didn't do it to just get an average cornerback or someone that can look good against decent wide receivers. You got him and paid this big price and gave up the picks to get someone that can lock down number one wide receivers. The two best wide receivers he's faced this year has been Metcalf and Adams, unless I'm missing one in the last 2 weeks. And he's got absolutely torched by both of them.
So here's what I'll tell you. I agree he has not been playing up to what we had hoped he would. Mm-hmm. But Slay is still a top 10 corner. Now, here's where this is how I feel about him right now. So, beginning of the year was great. Like you said, didn't play against, anybody super elite, but he played against, some good receivers. Terry McLaurin took him out of the game.
Who was the quarterback?
It doesn't matter. He took the receiver out of the game. That's his job.
It absolutely matters. When your quarterback is Dwayne Haskins, it matters.
It doesn't matter. Okay. Regardless, I was saying this earlier to Nick. If you watch Slay, one of his strengths is his speed. Mm-hmm. So, especially against Seattle, Metcalf was beating him on slants pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I've watched a lot of Slay, and he doesn't get torched like that. Slay doesn't get burned consistently like that throughout his whole career. And if you've noticed, he's been going off the field a couple times a game with what looks like an ankle injury. And I think he missed a game or two with an ankle injury. I'm not defending. I'm not saying he's exempt from his issues, but I do think like his speed has been impacted by that nagging ankle injury he has. And so when players like Adams and Metcalf go on these quick routes or these like deep routes that he can't, keep up with because of this ankle, it's going to be a problem. And my other thing is, you said DK Metcalf and Adams. Those are those are two of the arguably top 4 receivers in the league. They're freaks of nature, elite talent. They get paid to do that stuff too.
This is why you got Darius Slay. This is the reason you got him, was to stop wide receivers. Like, I'm not excited he can stop Terry McLaurin. That does nothing for me. That is not why you traded away multiple draft picks and then signed him to a big contract.
There's very few corners that are going to shut down Adams and
Malcolm
Metcalf.
Jenkins went. We didn't sign Malcolm Jenkins. We decided we wanted Slay more than Jenkins. And Jenkins looks fine on the Saints right now. Slay has been fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's been bad. I'm just saying that he is not this number one lockdown corner that we thought we were getting when we traded away multiple picks and signed him big money.
The only player I've seen shut down any of the top 5 receivers has been Ramsey shut down Metcalf. Beyond that, I don't think – I mean, Lattimore always has Mike Evans' number, but I don't –
Listen, yeah, but look at this one. I mean, he got a little bit, but DK Metcalf went for 5 receptions for 80 yards this week. James Bradbury shadowed him all game. That's what he's the number one quarterback.
I think James Bradbury's actually been playing pretty well, though.
I also think James Bradbury's playing really well. I think the Giants went and gave James Bradbury elite number one corner money, just like we did with Darius Slay, and he's been playing like one. Where Slay is starting to show that he struggles with number one wide receivers. And you didn't get him to cover number 2s or borderline 1s. You got him to cover elite wide receivers.
But how many? You said what? He had 5 catches?
Yeah.
What do you have against the Eagles? Like 8? That's all Russ did was throw to Metcalf the entire game.
I'm sorry. That's usually what the corners are there for, to prevent catches. If he catches more with Slay on him, then that's a failure.
I know what I'm saying, that the targets will, never mind. You're missing the point.
I think you're trying to defend him. I knew you would try to defend him. That's why I wanted to save it.
Because I like Slay. I think he's a really good corner.
Listen, I have nothing against Slay, and I think he's been one of the bright spots this season. But now that he went against two elite wide receivers back-to-back weeks, he got exposed. And what you gave up and what you're paying him is to be a number one elite cornerback, and it doesn't look like he's doing that this year.
Right, but I think part of that has to do with the bum ankle issue he's having, and he's been vocal about it. He knows he's been bad, and he wants to be better. So at least he's got the competitive nature in him to say, "Listen, I've played bad. I've been worthless the last 2 games, but I'm going to keep trying to compete."
Sucks. He sounds like Carson Wentz after every game when he turns the ball over 4 times and
he's a little more graphic with his words, but yeah. Who's his number 2 stud?
Your boy Metcalf was targeted 13 times for 10 receptions against the Eagles. Mm-hmm. He was targeted 8 times, 5 receptions against the Giants. So I'm not sure where you were trying to go with that argument, but that looked like Slay got burned a lot more than James Bradbury did.
So targeted 8 times, caught it 5 for 80, and then what'd you say? Targeted 13, caught it 10?
10, yeah. So he doubled his receptions.
Doubled his receptions, so double the yards.
Doubled his yards,
160 yards.
Oh, no, he had 177.
No, I'm saying if you double the receptions, double the yards, that evens out to the same.
Not really. No, 177, 10 catches. That's more than 160.
It was 171.
It was 177. I'm looking at it right
now. Whatever.
You're the one that said it was 171.
Okay, five catches and 80 yards. You double that to 10 catches, 160 yards. What are you not understanding?
Because he caught the ball 5 extra times. You can double it all you want if you want, but he actually has to catch the ball.
Oh, I know. But I'm saying he was the only one. You even read off the target. You said 13 targets.
Okay, see, here's my argument. See, I care more about how many catches and yards he has. You care more about the yards per catch, it seems.
Okay, you watched that Seattle game. DK won all those 50-50 balls. How often does that happen in a game? He made 2 really crazy catches in that game against the Eagles.
I hear you. But he also caught the ball 10 times. So what about the other 8?
I'm not saying that was good. I'm just telling you that you got to take those things into account. Slay had 2 bad games back to back. I'm not going to deny that.
Listen, I wanted to bring it up now because now it's Michael Thomas this week and it's DeAndre Hopkins the week after that. And this will show you a lot. And you know what? Are they the best wide receivers in football? Yes, they are the best wide receivers in football. But you know what? This is why you got Slay, was to stop these guys.
Well, when the teams are bad, you don't really watch the whole product. So I'll just isolate on a player and I'll watch Slay. I'll see how he does.
Go ahead. Don't worry. If it's anything like Metcalf or Adams' performances, you'll see plenty of Slay. So it won't be that hard to miss him.
We'll see.
Well, listen. He's been solid. These 2 games have opened my eyes because you are paying him and traded him to get to be an elite, and he did not show out to be an elite corner against elite wide receivers. So we'll see.
I'd say it's a fair statement, but yeah. I'm just saying pump your brakes.
Like I said, no, that's fair. I understand. We'll see. These next 2 weeks are big.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Oh shit! Do we play the Cardinals the week after that?
Yes, we do. This is why I brought it up.
So Darius Slay has had to play arguably 4 of the top 5 wide receivers in a row. Can we put the Falcons in there and have them play against Julio? That would be completed.
All I'm saying is I purposely brought this up today because
Metcalf, Adams, Michael Thomas, and Hopkins. That's insane.
If he gets burned by those 2, like he has,
if he lets up 120 yards to all 4 of them each.
Yeah,
I'll agree with you.
That's a failure of a season. And it's tough because he played really well in the other games. Yeah, but you know what? You're getting paid a lot, and we traded a good amount to get you for this reason. It's just value. But, we'll leave it alone. That's something I want you to keep your eye on because I know.
Although not to harbor this, but I know Adams, not all of his yards was against Slay. They had a stat. It was like, I think it was like 3 for like 60 or 70 yards was against Slay. And then how many catches did Adams have? 5 or?
What did I say? 10?
Oh, Adams had 10 catches?
Yeah, they both had.
Oh, so it was like 5 or 6 catches for like 80 some yards, which still isn't good, but whatever.
Well, yeah,
was that the 3rd? Did we even get to number 2 yet?
Nope, not yet.
Oh, man.
I saved that for you. I knew you were going to be defensive, but I just wanted to let you know and something to look at when he goes against number 1 wide receivers.
I'll stand by my secondary players. So
I know. Listen, I knew what I was getting myself into.
Okay.
All right. On to the next stuff. Second stud. Yeah, so that covers our third stud, Devontae Adams. Obviously, if you saw any of that game, you saw Devontae was running around making plays all day. So
Yes.
moving on. This is one of two 2018 quarterbacks in the
Okay.
studs list. Guy that his team features made a nice leap up in our top 10 rankings. They look great. He looked great. His decision making is on par. He continues to look like a dual threat quarterback with his arm and his legs. Did it against a team that, they're beat up. They're, not looking great, but they showed up the week before, so I'll give it to them. They were still an impressive win. Accurate, 32 for 40, 375 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
The 32-40 is the big one because he's been taking a lot of heat his entire career about how inaccurate it is. And whoever taught him how to throw the ball accurately, I want you to pay him triple and bring him to Philadelphia so he can talk to Carson Wentz. Because what he has done, I don't know who it is. I guess it's Dable is the offense coordinator. I don't know how long he's been there, but man, whatever the jump that he has made from last year, or even when he was a rookie to now, is impressive. Josh Allen is my second stud. He looked great. I watched that whole game, and he just looks so comfortable. Mahomes does this too, and Mahomes did it on that wide open touchdown to win the game when Kelsey caught it a couple weeks ago. He kind of fakes to run just to get the defenders to move. He has no intention of actually running, but he's just giving them that feel. And he has enough of his legs that you have to respect it. And him and Mahomes understand it so well because they never get uncomfortable. If they're scrambling, they always keep their eyes downfield. And they manipulate the defenders with their running ability. And it's so impressive to see. And, man, the game I watched from Josh Allen, I was extremely impressed. If the quarterback in front of him didn't throw the same amount of touchdowns Josh Allen did in one half, Josh Allen would have been the number one stud easy. But
I watched a good portion of that game too, and I was really impressed. That game was funny because my fantasy standing I was on the line. I was in danger of getting knocked out. So I had Stephon Diggs on my team, and I was going against Josh Allen. And then, it was like, do I want him to play well or do I want Diggs to just get catches? But yeah, he was playing crazy. I still can visualize the one play he had. I can't remember if it was a fourth down or third down, but he basically stepped up in the pocket and was going to the right and then completely just contorted his body and threw the ball to the far left to Stephon Diggs, like on the money. Like
I was very impressed with that game. I don't watch a ton of Bills games from start to finish. That one was one I watched from start to finish, and I was extremely impressed.
Yeah, he played smart.
Shout out to Cole Beasley because he was very close to making the studs list. I was going to put him there, but I had to put on Adams there so we get to this late discussion. But 9 receptions, 130 yards, and a touchdown. And he had a very, very pretty toe tapper on the sideline. So he had a hell of a game too.
Oh, you know what? I know who your number one is going to be, but I'm going to have to rebuttal it. But you can go.
I would happily hear this rebuttal. So, yeah, we'll get right to it. So, yeah, I'll make it quick. Another 2018 quarterback threw 4 touchdowns in the game and 4 touchdowns in the first half. Finished with 25 of 33, 334 yards, 4 tutties against a very good team. Not a great defense, but a very good team. And he won a big game. And won a big game that they didn't rely on their running backs. I think Nick Chubb only had 18 carries. Hunt had 14. Neither ran the ball particularly well. I think Chubb ended with 4.4 average, and Hunt was even worse. He was a 2.4 average. So they really went away from their normal script of just pounding the ball all game. And Baker stepped up to the challenge and played extremely well. That game was over at half, so he didn't have to really pad his stats or anything. I don't worry about the score at the end because it was never close. But your boy, who you just called average earlier in this, Baker Mayfield, number one stud, and he's doing it with Rashard Higgins, Donovan Peoples-Jones were the leading receivers on his team. So way to be, moving the ball around. Very impressive, Baker. I didn't see that performance coming, but he balled out, and I had to give him credit for it.
Yeah, I'll give him, like I said, I still think he's pretty mediocre at times, but I would have had Allen over him, but even furthermore, I'm surprised you didn't put a certain somebody number one or even in this top 3 stud list.
Who's that?
Well, this man monster, you might say.
Jeez.
Had 13 receptions for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns at the tight end position for the Las Vegas Raiders. Mr. Darren Waller.
Yeah, I was gonna put him there. I mean,
you were thinking about 200 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns?
He was on the list. He was on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Devontae Adams got a boost because we had that Darius Slay conversation. But also, I kind of listen. It's against the Jets. I know the Eagles.
So it was
trash.
an unimpressive 13 catches for 200 yards.
Devontae Adams got a boost because he torched a so-called number 1 lockdown corner, and he had the stats to prove it.
Okay.
Waller did it against the Jets. They nearly lost. I actually think I put Waller on the list while they were losing, so I might have just not gone back. Even surprisingly, they won that game, and I kind of writed him off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was in consideration. I probably should have put him over Devontae Adams, but Josh Allen and Baker, I'm fine with. I wouldn't have put Waller. Would have been number 3. I would have just replaced him with Adams. He wasn't going to get out of the quarterbacks. Baker, it was too big of a win for the Browns against the Titans, and the 4 touchdowns and a half was impressive. And the fact that I watched a lot of Josh Allen, he just looked great. But Waller did have a game. He was on my list. My list was him, Justin Jefferson, who's on this list nearly every week, Cole Beasley, and Devontae Adams, and then the quarterbacks. That was the short list of the studs consideration.
Oh, interesting. I just want to.
Wow, I did not realize that he had 200 yards. Like I said, I put his name on there. I think during the game, and then I saw they were about to lose, and I just kind of wrote him off.
Yeah, once you said 2 quarterbacks, I had like a brain fart. I was like, wait, who had like an amazing game the other day?
Yeah, you're right. I'll give you that. But you know what? Listen, if we didn't have the Darius Slay conversation to get into, I would have happily put him on there.
I get the whole the Adams did against an elite town and Waller did against the Jets. That's a decent argument. But I want to say real quick, I just looked it up. Speaking about the Raiders, our buddy Nelson Aguilar, he's having a solid year.
I know he is.
See, 33 catches for 500 yards, but he's averaging 16 yards of a reception. It's the highest he's ever had in his career.
Yeah,
and 6 touchdowns so far. He's rivaling his Super Bowl year with the Eagles, where he played really well in the slot. But
he's in a good system there. He's not nearly the he's got other guys around him. He's not the number 1, and he just feeds off it. Ruggs there. Ruggs stats might not always be there, but he's just an impact player off of just being able to be so fast. And John Gruden knows how to use him.
Yeah, but all right.
Any final thoughts before we get to picks?
No, I think I pretty much covered my feelings on that. The neglect of not having Mr. Waller. But
fair. I'll take that one. I'll take that as a no. Darren Waller owes you a shout out because you went out there and fought for him.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that it's kind of crazy. Like I said, we got 4 weeks already, and with that, we can jump into our power rankings first. This is probably the least movement we've had in a while, but I think that's a product of where we're at in the season. So we have KC, number 1. I think they'll probably stay the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have 2 receivers that are over, they could end up having both Kelsey and Hill lead the league 1 and 2 in receiving yards. Like that'd be, I don't know if that's ever been done, but that'd be wild.
That is crazy.
Number 2, the Saints move up a spot because, I mean, they only have 2 losses and they were super early. They've won like 8 straight, I think, or something.
Yeah.
They're cooking right now. They're gonna feast on some birds this weekend. Number 3, we have Pittsburgh dropped a loss to Washington, which I called. Told you it was a trap game. They were going to lose one of these to a bad team eventually. And
I mentioned that I was going to pick Washington before you, and you're the worst.
No, we got to the game and we were both really quiet. And then I was like, I'm kind of feeling the trap game here.
You suck.
Yeah, so they just dropped a spot. They're still – look, people are giving them a lot of shit because they're like the weakest undefeated team until they lost. But we touched on they have some issues, but they're still a good team. They're still going to be in the playoffs. So
they are a good team, but they definitely have some issues that they need to work on. That run game and – I mean, I wouldn't say the defense is an issue, but the Bud Dupree loss is a big one. That is a very big loss.
Then number 4, like we said, Josh Allen's playing really nice. And Bills barely even had to run the ball, so we got them at number 4. Number 5, we have the Packers. Again, Aaron Rodgers is probably between Rodgers and Mahomes at this point for MVP. So
Yeah.
I might give the nod to Rodgers because based on what he's working with so far, but we'll see. Number 6, the Browns. Like we said, they've been playing well, and when Baker plays well and they're running, their rushing attack is good. Like they'll be pretty hard to beat. Excuse me. Titans at 7, even though they lost to the Browns. Still a good team. Rams at 8, Seahawks at 9, and the Colts at 10. Any quick thoughts on that?
No, I think we touched most of what we would already say.
Yeah, all these teams are in the playoffs or playoff contention at the moment. So I think this is probably how it'll end up. But yeah, so let's get into the game. So we got a Thursday game already, and we just had a Tuesday night game. Schedule is really all over the place. Football 24/7.
Love it.
First game is the Super Bowl rematch from 2 years ago. Patriots and the Rams. Who are you feeling?
The Patriots are getting a little hot right now. I forget how many. I think there's like 2 or 3 wins in a row, I believe, for them.
They're 6-6, and they're I think 1 game out of or 1 or 2 games out of the last playoff spot. But.
Yeah, no, they're on a little hot streak. I do think though that the Rams defense is pretty locked down, and Cam Newton hasn't really proven to me that he can throw the ball. So they're going to probably come up with the same style that they've been doing, just running Cam a ton. I'm going to give McVay the benefit of the doubt that he's learned from his past mistakes. He knows what Belichick's going to throw at him, and this is a game that he's probably circled. I don't know if they've played each other since the Super Bowl, but I'm sure that whenever he gets a chance to play Belichick again, he's going to get extra hype. And I think the Rams are the much better team, but you never know with the Patriots, so I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a game that comes down to Cam, and I think the Rams defense will have an advantage. So I will take the Rams as well. But I think it'll be close.
Yeah, no,
But I don't think Cam's going to be able to run around and do what he wants against Aaron Donald and
that defense is pretty good. It's going to be a struggle.
Next game, Sunday 1:00 starts. We got Titans at the Jaguars. Titans, they got to rebound with a win here.
Yeah, this is a rebound game.
Next game is the Vikings at the Bucks. This is very important for both these teams. The Bucks were on a bye. I can't imagine they come into this Vikings game and just drop an L. So I'll take the Bucks.
You know what? I still have my doubts about the Bucks. Arians and Brady still haven't proven that the marriage is going to work. Arians has thrown Brady under the bus more than I think anyone expected. But I'm going to take the Vikings until spice it up. I'm also down by 1,000 to you, so I need to get a couple wins here.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll get to the rankings after this.
Leave them alone.
Then we got the Broncos at the Panthers. Broncos had some fight.
They ran the ball with Melvin Gordon a lot.
Yeah, but the Panthers were also on a bye, and they're kind of fighting for that playoff spot too.
Yeah. McCaffrey's playing this week.
Is he? Then yeah, I'll take Panthers.
I'll take Panthers. I think their offense is going to be too much.
Next game we have our Texans at the Bears. I'm not going to play a ton of this. I'll take Texans.
Texans and the Bears?
Yeah.
Those are 2 bad teams.
I think Foles is still out too. Not that he was lighting the world up, but
I'm going to say that the Texans can make a play. I'm sorry, not the Texans, the Bears. Who do the Texans have on offense anymore? Like now that Fuller's.
They still have Cooks.
Didn't he just get hurt? Or no, I'm thinking of Cobb. Cobb's still hurt.
Cooks did go out, but he came back in.
Yeah, no, I'm not really scared of that. I think the Bears defense might be able to score a touchdown, so I'll take the Bears.
All right.
Then we got before I forget. Surprisingly, I did not know Melvin Gordon went for 131 yards on 15 carries this week.
Did he really?
Yeah, I just saw the yardage. Just so I was like, they must have ran Melvin Gordon 100 times.
I know he was getting the ball out, but I didn't know he had that much.
Just this week, he had a hell of a game.
You've been slacking on the studs, man. What's going on?
Oh, they lost. Relax, guy. That's come on now.
All right. Next game, another important game for both teams. Cardinals at the Giants. Now, to my knowledge,
Oh,
Colt McCoy is still playing, and I know he looked pretty okay. He played well against Seattle. But I think Cardinals might just be too much for them. I don't know. Cardinals have been losing, 3 straight now?
yeah, listen, they're two teams going in the completely different directions. If they
Yeah.
can slow down the Seahawks, I think they can slow down the Cardinals. Joe Judge has got this team fighting. They're playing much better than I think they're capable of because
I
the
was gonna
team's not very
say
good.
Giants are on a hot like when you catch fire in the NFL, like
Something
go for
about
a
this
while.
this Judge dude has got them all fighting. Makes me wish that we had a coach that would do that, but instead we don't. So I'll take the Giants. I think they keep the mojo going. You know, he's got them believing. They're playing a hell of a lot better than I think their roster shows.
Yeah. I'll take the Cardinals. If they lose this game, they're done for the season, I would say.
Yeah.
Next game is Cowboys at Bengals. I just saw Cowboys play a pretty lackluster game against the Ravens. If I was a Cowboys fan, thank God I'm not. But if I was, what do you even like? How do you even cope with this? Like, I get that you're starting quarterbacks out, but like, you have so much talent you are way too talented of a team to be this bad. Like, you have arguably the best receiving group in the NFL. You have decent players on defense. You have had a good line. I'll give you that. The line's been hurt, and you have one of the best running backs in the league. Where are your so many more where are the excuses? Like,
Well,
blows my mind that they're
Dak
so
Prescott's
bad.
agent will be bringing up that same argument when it's time for the contract.
I can't. They played that so wrong because now instead of getting a slightly lesser contract for Prescott, like they could have done 2 years ago or a year ago, they're going to be playing out their pockets for him because he can basically name his price at this point. So
yeah, no, yeah, well, yeah, they're not gonna let him go, and they franchise him tag him again. It's gonna be $1 million or like a ton of money. But
it'll definitely be more than $1 million.
I was like, I just said $1 million as a hyperbole, and then I was like, oh wait, he's actually looking.
It's not even a hyperbole in the NFL.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Cowboys though, as we shit on them, because I think the Red Rocket's gonna have a revenge game. Not a revenge, he's his former team. I think he comes out and plays with a little juice, and the Bengals aren't a good team, so I think the Cowboys.
I think the Bengals played surprisingly well against Miami, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really see how they win this game, and Cowboys should win, so I'll take Dallas. Next game is Colts at Raiders. We got some important games this weekend.
The Raiders suck. If they just lost they got shellacked by the Falcons, and they nearly lost to the Jets. Greg Williams is the only reason they didn't lose. I'm not taking the Raiders. Give me the Colts.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Colts, but the Raiders confuse the hell out of me because some weeks they look really good. Some weeks, they beat the Chiefs once. They almost beat them again, and then they're like having a tough time with New York.
They played really well against the Chiefs and terrible against everyone else.
Yeah, I don't know. But speaking of Jets, we got Jets at Seattle.
No. Give me Seattle. I ain't waste my time.
Yeah, I'll take the Seahawks there. Russ to have a nice game. Packers at Lions. I could see a Lions upset here. But this is a good Packers team, so I'll take the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers should be arrested for poaching for the amount of times he kills the Lions. So I'm going to take them. That's it's just one of those games that you just know that Aaron Rodgers is going to just defecate all over the Lions twice every year. They're just one of those teams that the Tom Brady and the Jets or Dolphins or the Bills, whatever horrible AFC East team you want to talk about in the last 20 years that Tom Brady would just routinely destroy.
Next game is Falcons at the Chargers. Chargers look like a mess right now. So the Falcons though. So
yeah, but you know what? The two teams that both should have new head coach. Obviously, the Falcons already fired their coach. The Chargers should fire their coach, but I think that the Falcons have a little more going for them because they have this new coach, new energy, new spirit, and I think they win.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Falcons are playing actually pretty decently right now, so I'll take them as well.
Got them going.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if it was one of us that were talking about it last week, but he didn't really get a great shot his first time around as a head coach because he was really young.
Yeah.
So
But hey, listen, I'd expect him to keep the job. I would for the
yeah, I
Falcons.
could.
Yeah,
I
listen, if you
agree.
keep winning out, you'll be fine. And this is a big game for him. This is a game you should win. Help him keep his job.
Another game we got 4 o'clock. Washington at San Fran,
Mm.
which I guess is at Arizona because Niners are playing in Arizona now.
I
But
think this, I think this is gonna be a close game, but I'm gonna
Washington also has been kind of hot. So I
yeah,
mean,
I'll take Washington. That was a big
ooh,
Steelers. Yeah, listen, I just the Niners are a tough team because I thought they looked really well against the Rams. And I thought they were getting healthy and they were gonna be able to play well. And it was against the Bills, but they still kind of looked a little lackluster. Defense didn't look as great as they did against the Rams. It's disgusting to say, but the Giants and Redskins are fighting for the division. Who the hell would have thought that going into the season?
yeah, it looks like if you look at the stands, it looks like they're flipped.
It's unbelievable. Just this past week, your Washington football team beat the Steelers and the Giants beat the Seahawks as they fight for the NFC East. What kind of alternate universe am I living in?
Yeah, 2020, baby.
God, disgusting. I think I had them both winning like 4 games in the preseason predictions.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I like Washington's chances, so I'll take them.
Okay.
Next game, we're not really going to go too much into Saints and Eagles. I'm going to take the Saints in a blowout.
Like yeah.
I'm just going to pencil you in for Saints. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's yeah.
The next game is Steelers at the Bills. I'm going to take the Bills and say that the Steelers have a rough end to the season, but they'll end up like winning the last game or two and like bring themselves back up.
This is tough because I still think the Steelers are a good team, capable of having a get-right game. I definitely think they're going to hear all the noise this week because this whole week is going to be them getting killed about overrated. Pouncey comes back, which will help a lot, but the Bills look really good, and maybe they face in the playoffs again, and they can maybe something different happens. But I think the Bills are too hot right now.
Yeah,
I think what Tomlin ripped them apart 2 weeks ago when they played the backups of the Baltimore Ravens, and they just came out and laid an egg again. So I'd like to think that this loss would be the one that wakes them up, but your coach just saying how much you suck didn't do it. So I don't know if this is going to do it. So I'm going to take the Bills.
Yeah, it'll be a good game though. Next we have Ravens at Browns. Like I said, a lot of important games. Actually, this is the last game, I believe. Monday night, yeah.
I'll take the Browns. I think they get some good mojo going. The Ravens still have some things to work out.
Who won the first matchup?
It was the Ravens.
Ravens crushed them first week of the season, I think.
I believe so, yeah. 2 different paths, though. This is not the same Ravens team as earlier in the season. This is not the same Browns team.
It's a shame because I wonder how home field advantage would work for the Browns. Like, they're one of the highest winning teams in the league right now. At home on a primetime game, their fans would be going nuts. So it sucks, but
talk about the Browns, the best season they've had in the last 50 years, and he can't even go to the games.
Yeah. I think the last time they had a winning record, the LT was still playing.
Yeah.
Right. I really think the Browns are good, but I think the Ravens need this win more. So I'll take the Ravens.
Yeah.
All right, and that is a wrap on Week 14 games to pick. Last week, you went. We both actually had nice weeks.
Nice.
You went 12-3.
Not bad.
I went 13-2.
I hate you. You're an asshole.
So my total through 13 weeks of the NFL season is 137 to 56. And you are 121 to 74. So
getting closer.
Better than the analysts we got on ESPN in the morning and stuff, but
it's true. Keep picking. I'm gonna come back, kid.
You're a bit too far behind.
Yeah,
That's like saying that the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? I think that was covered everything.
No, I think this was a long episode, but I think we covered a lot. So,
well, that's what happens when the quarterback change. Everyone knew it was going to happen. As soon as you draft in the second round, happens.
yeah, we have you know what? It's not a complete Eagles season unless there's a quarterback controversy.
I just want to shut up, my boy. I still support you.
Is that a Carson Wentz pillow?
It is a Carson Wentz pillow.
It's beautiful. What does it say on it?
It's me. It's my name.
Oh, it says Tim. I thought it said like game time or something.
It's my personalized Carson Wentz pillow. I'd look like a real idiot if I had the backup quarterback of the Eagles on my pillow. So I need him to stay as the starter.
Well, technically, he is the backup, so you look like an idiot.
Fair enough.
Wait, you have a picture of a human being on a pillow, but you have your name on it?
Listen, it was a gift. It was some good quality. Yeah. This is the way I like to see him as. This is when he was still good.
Jeez. All right.
With dazzle on the back. See? Good stuff.
Oh, fancy. Little reverse colorway there.
Exactly.
Wow. All right. We'll end it on that, on a nice Carson Wentz pillow to rest your thoughts on.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
I'll talk to you.
Peace out.
Peace.